my God. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the L.O.V. Legacy Hour chat. I am so excited right now. I am ecstatic because I am actually have one of my favorite artists of all time with me as a guest, and also co-hosting with me today will be one of my dear friends and DJ Al Magliano. I have never co-hosted with anybody. I always walk along. You know what I'm saying? I always work, but no, this is a great thing. You know, but I'm going to do this. I have Almaglia. I mean, let me do this and bear with me until I do this. Aha, there you are. So I'm going to split this like this. No, it's not like that. So hold on, bear with me because I have to make two boxes now. Okay. I don't want to. This is time consuming. And there she is, Barbara Roy, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, hi Barbara. How are you?
Hello,
How
Louie.
you doing, my
Hi, Louie.
dear?
Hi, Al.
Al, I'm gonna bring
Good,
in right
good.
now. So let me have another window capture here. I don't know how to do this, so bear with me until I get him. And there he is. Okay, so I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to do this. You see, I'm doing this live, so everybody knows that I'm incredible with technology. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I'm just learning all of this. Believe me when I tell you. So I'm gonna put Al on the right, and I'm gonna bring him like this. Too many stuff in the background for Al. I mean, really. Come on, huh? Al, how are you, my brother? Great show, by the way. Excellent show. I listened to about 50% of it. All good. How you doing? Can you hear me? Al, can you hear me? Al, can you hear me? Oh, Maro. Al, put the mic on. There you are. Can you hear me? Al? You can hear me, right, Barbara?
Yes, I can.
Okay, let me call Al because he's a little challenged, just like me. And
Sure.
I reached the cell phone of Al Magliano. Al, can you do me a favor and put your microphone on, please?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
There he is.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I can hear him.
your volume, please. Volume up. Volume
Yes.
up. Testing one, two. Go
I
ahead.
can hear you.
Yeah, very low. You're very low, my brother.
Mic is on.
Yeah, I know, but your volume should be up.
Yes.
Okay. Barbara, welcome to the L.O.V. Legacy Hour chat. It's been a long time. It's been really quite a long time since I've seen you last, and we enjoy our company. And we enjoy the company of so many people that we were together in New York City. I'm sure you remember all
Yes.
that wonderful times. Barbara, this is your life. Remember, Barbara Roy, this is your life. I would like the world to
Right.
know a little bit more about what Barbara Roy is all about. And I would like you to please take us back to the early days in your life as you were a
How about
teenager
now?
maybe.
How
And
about now?
no, you are on the water. You don't sound too loud. So, anyways, Barbara, can you do me a favor and give us that a little bit of a history about your early days in the industry, please?
All right, Louie. Al, we can't hear you very well, but I can see you. We can see
Yeah,
you,
we can see.
and your volume is very low. So if you can turn it up for us, if you can. Okay. A little bit about Barbara Roy Gaskins
Yes.
history, music history. Uh, I was born in New Bern, North Carolina. Now, all the things that I'm going
Right.
to tell you is that I will never be able to tell you everything in 1 hour, not even
Oh,
an hour.
absolutely
Okay,
not.
so we'll be going skipping a lot of stuff. And anytime you guys feel as though you want to ask me a question, just break right in and ask me. It's fine. Okay. or contribute some information, that'll be fine. But I was born in New Bern, North Carolina, and my mom and dad had already had 12 living children. I'm the last one.
Wow. Wow. That's great.
I'm the last child. So there were 13 of us.
That's
All are
amazing.
deceased now, but my brother Ray and me. We have our own families and we have grandchildren and great grandchildren. But back in the day when I was a child, I was brought up in the church
Right.
with my brothers and sisters and my mom and dad. My father passed away in 1949 when I was 5 years old at that time. So that tells you how old I am right now. I, I'm not going to mention any figures, okay? Just gonna,
Okay.
you figure it out for yourself.
I can do the math.
Okay,
Okay.
you're good with what we used to call arithmetic. Okay,
Yes.
but anyway, we were brought up in the church and we sang. My mother was the uh, founder of the first choir in our home church, and she compiled a number of the people in my family and made a group, a gospel group. And that's where music came from, my mother's side of the family. I was not always able to play the guitar to sing. I was not always able to sing, but from the age of 5, I remember I could play the guitar. But
No
my family
kidding.
tells me I started trying to play the guitar at the age of 2. I
Wow.
remember 5 years old. Okay,
Wow.
and I just never got away from it.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow. That is an
can you hear
amazing
You
me?
guys
talent.
got me now?
Go ahead, Al.
I'm sorry. Is it a little better, my audio now?
Yes, a little better. That's much better. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited to see you, Barbara, and to have Lewis put this interview together. 1973 was really before the disco boom. So that means that you are a clear disco pioneer. You were there before, but I don't like to characterize your music only as disco because you were on Soul Train many times. It's soul, it's R&B, it's dance, it's disco. You
Absolutely.
you crossed all these genres, and
Yes.
and it's
Absolutely.
it's going to be 50 years in a couple of years. But whenever
Already.
we put those songs on, it always brings a smile to our face. And it took me 5 years to find you, and hopefully we were able to get you back on stage a few years ago. And the crowd loved you. Did a few shows together. And when I met you, I literally, if you remember, in Atlantic City, I fell on the floor when you walked through those doors.
And enrolled. Yes, I remember.
I was so excited. So again, I'm so happy that Lewis was able to put this together. But it's not about me; it's about you. So you guys continue.
Yeah, no, no. This is fantastic because
Thanks, Al.
we're learning that at
So,
the age of five, okay.
yes.
I mean, I can remember
Hmm.
very little, maybe when I was maybe 8 or 9. Well, no, no, I'm kidding. But that's 5, and then you already have the talent. That is amazing. I love that. And so you continue learning and continue. Did you get any lessons to get to where became a professional, or you just did it by ear, Barbara?
No, no professional lessons. All my growing up years, I played and sang by ear, and I didn't begin to learn to sing even until I was around 12 or 13 years old.
Right,
I remember my mom and I were standing on the back porch one day at home. When this was when I was in elementary school,
right.
and it was in the evening, of course, and we saw the shooting star. My mother says, "Look, if you see that shooting star, you make a wish, and your wish will come true." And I believed it, and I made a wish, but she said, "But don't tell anybody, because if you do, it's gonna jinx the wish." So
Oh,
I didn't tell anyone.
right.
And when Christmas rolled around that December, my wish came true. I got my first brand new electric guitar and amplifier.
I
I was
I
so
love it.
happy. I just jumped.
Fantastic.
You know, it was wonderful. So that was my
Right.
first silver tone. Okay,
Silver
it was a
tone.
silver tone
Yeah,
guitar. That
yeah.
was the brand name, and I
Fun.
kept it for years and years and years and years, and played at the Apollo Theater with it.
Uh huh.
My niece Brenda and I
Uh,
recorded. We were the first ones to record
right.
in my family. my niece Brenda and I recorded music back in the mid-60s
Yeah.
on the Atlantic label, and we did, yeah, it was pretty nice. The records did pretty well.
Right.
You know, we were able to do tours and stuff like that. But anyway, around 69, 1969, I met Ecstasy, Passion and Pain. Well, I didn't meet them. I co-founded the group.
Right.
The name, and we named it Ecstasy, Passion and Pain. The group named it. And we went on from there. We met Fred Balin, who was introduced to us by our manager at that time, Philip Braxton. That's another story.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Sure.
that's a different story. We won't go into that.
All right. Sounds good.
Anyway,
You know, Barbara,
we did meet. Yes.
your first album, and I know Louis will agree with me, when you look at the top 5, 6, 7 albums of the era, and I'm not just saying this because we know each other, you have to put your first album in that category, because you could have spread that album over 3 albums. I know Louis will agree with me. There was 4 or 5 monster songs on that album, and then you followed that up with other great tunes. You know, talk about one-hit wonders. You had way more than that. You know,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
it was pretty amazing. And you are the only other girl group that I remember that had one hit, Oogie Oogie Oogie, The Taste of Honey. They were great. They played guitar and wrote, but I don't know of any other groups that were in your genre that not only wrote their own hit records but played the guitar. Most of the disco divas did not do that.
Right.
Correct. I think you're speaking specifically about the songs that were on the album, but they were not singled out. They were not recorded per se. There were some songs, you know, other than the ones that were on the regular album of 10 songs. There were other albums that they put, other songs rather, that they put on the album later on, a couple of years later, that were never released actually. And they were great songs. And I'm going to go back into the archives and pull them out.
You better
and
believe
record
it. You
them
better
again.
do that.
Sure. That's my aim.
Absolutely.
There's beautiful songs, great songs, and hit songs, and just a little bit of update, and they'll be just fine. I think they'll go great.
Oh,
You know, I mean,
man,
that's what I was
you know
talking about,
how many people
other
will be
music.
lining up to be able to be part of that, because we all know those songs they're going to be hits no matter what. Absolutely,
Yes.
Barbara. So
Yes, definitely.
but the early
Definitely.
'70s were like so amazing. Like Al says, the Philly sound came in like a mushroom cloud. I mean, it took over, and
Right.
you had the opportunity to work with so many of them in Philadelphia, obviously. And tell us a little bit about that time of your life in Philly.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because Bobby Martin was our producer. Our producer
Right.
at that time, and when the company was looking for music for me, they asked me to bring in music. Okay,
Right.
I brought in a long list of songs, and they chose from that list what they wanted to record, and then they sent me to meet with Bobby Martin in Philadelphia, the Sigma Sound Recording Studios.
Yeah.
And Bobby took me to his home. I met his wife, and we sat at the table. We talked. We got to know each other before we even played a note. We talked
Beautiful.
and got to know each other really good. He wanted to know what was I about, what kind of music did I like, what kind did I not like, things like that, a lot of stuff. And it was just wonderful to talk with him and get to know him, and he got to know me, which
Right.
gave him the incentive to, check out who I was and how to arrange for me, how to arrange the music for me once he heard the music. So when he started to hear my recording tape, the little cassette tape,
Yeah.
when he turned it on, because I think Roulette Records had already listened. Yes, they had already listened to it, of course. And they heard one song on it they didn't think was going to be too cool. And they wanted to know what Bobby thought about it. And they wanted to, but they liked it well enough to want to do something with it. They wanted Bobby to rearrange it. When Bobby heard it, it was asking me
Ask
actually.
me. Oh,
It was
man.
asking me. And
Yeah.
Bobby
God
heard it.
bless
He
Bobby.
says, "Oh no, nothing needs to be done to this.
Hmm.
This is fine, just like it is. All I need to do is what I'm going to do with all the rest of them. Right around arrange the music around the guitar
Right.
and Barbara's voice.
My,
That's what I'm going to do." And
yeah.
that's what he did. And that's how we came up with the hit.
I mean, every song in this album I played, and people just reacted to it in such a positive way. It was like
Mm-hmm.
a godsend for everybody. All the DJs were like crazy over it. Your voice, it was amazing, iconic to this day. I wouldn't give you up. What I have to be honest with you, I can't. I played that song like so many times it's not funny. Good things don't last forever. Really? I mean, come on, that was just incredible. I mean, those were like, but anyways, like Al says, and the picture and all of these people there are they still around? Most of these artists from the group.
we have we have lost two people.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are two. I know we lost our bass player Joe Williams.
Del
Joe
Williams, yeah.
Williams died over a year ago. Yeah,
Oh,
he passed away.
sorry.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that was my ace coon buddy, Joe.
And
As a matter of fact, he well, there's some things about Joe that uh, we were always just like brother and sister. He would come and pick me up for rehearsals and bring me
yeah,
back home, make sure I was okay. He was that kind of guy. And then we lost our conga player, uh, Carl Jordan. We call him Teddy.
right,
Carl Jordan died around about 5 years ago.
right,
And
right.
everybody else is still hanging in there. Praise the Lord.
And I noticed that
Ron Foster lives
yeah,
in New Jersey.
yeah.
Pardon me?
No, I'm saying
Ron Foster lives
right.
Ron Foster lives in New Jersey, and he's producing. He has an orchestra there. Um, I'm here in Fort Washington, Maryland. I'm doing music at my church and
Right.
different places.
I
You
mean,
wanted to say something?
yeah. I mean, I read all of these people. I mean, most of them, all we know some of them. Obviously, Bobby Eli is included in this album. Bobby
Mm-hmm.
Norman Harris, obviously, Vince
Mm-hmm.
Montana on Vibes, and the oh, the Sweethearts of Sigma Sound. Barbara Ingram, Carla Benson, and
Yes.
Yvette Benton, which Barbara obviously
Yes.
passed many years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
they were acknowledged by the Legends of Vinyl. Obviously, Bobby Eli was also acknowledged. And I
Mm-hmm.
recently spoke to Bobby.
Yes.
A lot of people are looking for Bobby. Bobby's doing very well, by the way. I will be having Bobby as my guest in my next season
Mm-hmm.
on 2021 for the Legacy Hour, and he agreed to it. Bobby is one of the nicest people I ever met, and talented. Like
He is.
that
He
family that
is.
that was together on Sigma Sound was just phenomenal. It
Yes.
was incredibly talented people,
Yes.
and they all work with so many projects. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like a little kid, getting to know them and everybody in particular. Now is the time for all of us to communicate and to learn from each other, really, if you know what I mean. So
Yes.
this is fantastic. I'm so happy that you came on board, and there's so many things when you went into what do you call it, into the late 70s. What happened in the late 70s with Ecstasy, Passion and Pain? Because I know you in the 80s, Roy B came into the picture.
You want to know what happened
Yeah, on
to us?
yes, with Ecstasy, Passion and Pain.
Okay. Now, you mean as far as the group dispersing,
Yes.
the group splitting
What
up? Is
happened
that
when
what
they
you mean?
split?
Oh, uh, well, there was a conspiracy going on in the group that was actually started by the management. We caught him doing the wrong thing with with our finance. He mishandled the finance.
Hmm.
Okay, and there was an argument with the group and him and me, and we couldn't phantom using him, continuing to use him.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and
That
so
that happens quite a bit in the business.
Yeah.
yes, it does. I mean, it's like
I hear that left of
it's
yeah.
not necessary. Everybody, if everybody did the right thing, by each other, we wouldn't have that. But it's not like that.
Did you have any dealings with the notorious Morris Levy?
Yes, I did.
Because I'm sure you can talk
Maris
about
Levy,
him.
jeez.
Well, oh yes, Mars Levy was the president of Roulette Records.
Roulette.
Excuse me, and I met with him quite often because I was signed to his label, so I had to have meetings with him, the management, Ecstasy Fashion and Pain's manager, and me. And the last time I went into his office, I didn't notice it before all the other times, but this particular time I noticed on the wall behind his desk, he had a plaque that read, "Dear God, please send me a bastard with some talent." Okay. I couldn't believe my eyes when I read it. And I swore I'd never go back into this office again as long as I stayed black. You understand what I'm saying? And I can't turn any other color.
Oh my God.
And I said, that's it. That's it for me in this man. But as it turned out, the group, we had a big argument and we broke up. It was stupid. It was dumb. But then that may not have been the way the Lord wanted me to go. God had other plans for me.
Absolutely.
And probably even some of those, of course, in the group. But things happen. Life happens,
Yeah.
And I loved them. I did not want to leave Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain. They were my family,
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with them. Eventually, I fell in love with them, and it hurt me to the core to have to split up with them, But after that happened, I continued in the music. I formed another group, but I couldn't use the name of Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain, not outright Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain. So I said I'll just use Barbara Roy, formerly of Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain.
Correct.
And this group and I will go on and continue to perform. And we did that for a while. And I found out that Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain, the original ones who were trying to continue to work, could not go back into the clubs and not all of the clubs and do performances because the management, they would tell them, well, if I don't have the original artist, if I don't have the original lead singer, I can't hire you. You're not who we're looking for.
Right.
And I felt bad for them for that, but they caused it themselves, so I had to live with it.
Who owns the name today?
The company.
Roulette Records.
As far as I know, when you leave a company, you don't know anything. You don't know anything when you're in there, really.
Correct. Yeah.
We were naive, and management was against us. He was working against us. It was we had us against the world. It was really bad. We didn't realize, or I didn't realize what was actually going on until it had happened.
Yeah.
Then it was too late. But I survived. I will survive.
But listen, one of our friends was there from the beginning also, probably on the sidelines watching and thinking, because I know this gentleman personally, and I'm talking about Roy B, who became owner of Roy B Records, and he got you involved on his label. On the record, If You Want Me, I think that was your first release with Roy B.
First and only.
Yeah, and to this day, Roy stands out to be there for a lot of people, and he was not one of the idiots, slash, if you know what I mean. I can call him so many other names, but he is still there, true to the foundation of our music culture, really. What was your experience with Roy in the early days as Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain was going on? Was Roy involved, obviously, because he was the record promoter? He got this record. It's clearly says promotional copy not for sale, right here. So we got a promo copy of it.
Yes, we met Roy. Well, I met Roy B. in he offered me a recording contract, and I said, well, let me have my lawyer look at it, and we'll see what happens. So I did that, and we became friends. Actually, Roy and I became friends, and he loved my music, the stuff I was writing, and the one in particular was "If You Want Me,"
Right.
and I mean, it was just a groovy song, you know.
I play
Roy
till
was
this
the
day.
kind of guy that,
Uh-huh.
yeah, pardon me, it was a groovy song, and
Yeah.
it can still go today because
Yeah.
it has that house beat.
I play it to
It
this
has
day.
what it takes to make it work.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna play it, but
You know.
yeah, it's still to this day playable, like like any other hit
Yeah.
out there. And I talked to Roy about that. I talked to him about that because he lost track of all of his catalogs and he sold everything. He
Oh,
sold all his catalogs, which
oh
I'm trying to,
goodness.
squeeze his neck because he says, but he said he told me,
Wow.
he said, he sold that to Unidisc up in Canada. He sold all of that up there. Um, so,
Hmm.
but there are ways to get around it because I'm trying to find a ways to bring those records back. And we may have a little surprise one of these days for everybody because we're working on something. Believe me when I tell you, I have ideas. I have ideas, and so. But anyways, yeah, that was it. Any questions that, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Legends of Vinyl Legacy Hour chat with our guest, Barbara Roy, co-host Al Magliano. Please, if you have any questions in the chat, please just write them. We'll be more than happy to pass it on to Barbara. Al, do you have any? Get involved now. It's your turn, my brother.
Yeah. Well, Barbara,
Yes.
Barbara also, I believe, you recorded on RCA Records in the mid to late '80s. So,
Yes.
Again, most disco artists, they have a time, a year or two or three, and then, you don't really hear from them any longer. So
Hmm.
you spanned about 14, 15 years with your music that was topical. And that is also a very difficult, if you look at Madonna, when Madonna started to record in 1982, by 1997, she continued to record, but it wasn't like, when's the next Madonna coming out? So your span of topical music was a good 15 years or more, which is also very unusual for um, for most disco artists. And when we finally connected, and the dream was to get you back on stage a number of years ago, we looked for her tracks, Louis. And
Yeah.
Bobby Eli, talk about how good a guy he was. If
Right.
you remember, Barbara, he went
Hmm.
to a university,
Yes.
Drexel University in
Yes.
Philadelphia, where they have an archive of stuff. And he went there, and
Yes.
unfortunately, we couldn't find it. We went to EMI England, I called. We were
Hmm.
in
Right.
California. Make a long story short, we couldn't find Barbara's masters so that she can have a karaoke track. So
Hmm.
guess what we did?
Mm,
We
mm.
went to DeVern Williams, Carol
Yes.
Williams' son, Louis,
Yes.
and we asked DeVern to re-record the tracks. Now, these tracks are virtually impossible to re-record because the greatest musicians in the world, that's not just a statement, that's true,
Sure that.
and the arrangements and the complexity and the strings and horns of your music, recreating that is virtually impossible. Well, when we did it, I was with Bobby Eli at one of these events a few years ago, and I played him one of the tracks, and I told him that DeVern had done this, and Bobby Eli was impressed, and Bobby Eli played on just about everything out of there.
Yeah.
So we
Yes.
were able to recreate Barbara's tracks to
Hmm.
get her back on stage with her music,
Yeah.
Right.
which was it was a long process, but it worked out in the end. But your
Mhm.
longevity is pretty amazing because, again, you can count many, many disco artists, and 95% of them, they don't have that long of a shelf life. And that's okay because that's the way the music business is. But
Right.
yours was incredibly long, and that's why it's so nice
Yeah.
to have Louis and our Legends of Vinyl recognize you, because we need to tell people about you. They hear your songs when they walk around. They hear it in Dunkin' Donuts. They hear it on our shows. They hear it all over the world. But who's that person singing? We need to let them know that. And that's one of the reasons why I've always liked to do the shows and say a few things about the artist. Last thing I wanted to say was, tell us about Maestro and Lyric.
Maestro and Lyric?
Yes. They're the two guys that wrote the full-time thing.
That wrote.
I'm sorry. Did they write Touch and Go?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Louis, who wrote Touch and Go?
That you just mentioned it.
Not sure.
No.
Yeah. Who wrote?
No,
Touch
that was.
Okay, I'm looking in here on my notes in here.
It should
Touch and Go.
Okay.
Touch and Go. Touch and Go. Touch and Go.
Touch and Go was a 12-inch. It wasn't. It was released as a 45 and a 12-inch. It was not on an album, correct, Barbara?
Right. It was on right as a 12-inch. It wasn't on the album because it came out in 1975. We were in South Africa during that time.
12-inch.
We would just get ready to leave from there, and it came out on a 12-inch.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't find it on my notes here.
I'm going to look that up, but
that would be awesome to find out. Yeah, what a great freaking song. I love that. Anyways, go on, because I'm looking for this. Al.
Yeah, it should be on the back of the album.
I got it. No, my mistake. It was not Maestro and Lyric. It was It was three amazing songwriters.
That's right.
Norman Harris, Alan Tizer, and Bunny Sigler.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So you if you look like Louis is looking at your album, your name is on that album as a songwriter for some of your hits. And a couple of years later, when Touch and Go was released, they could have taken two other songs off the first album and made a second album, because you had so many good songs. But you not only had the greatest musicians on the planet, and again, that's a true statement.
Yes, it is.
Norman Harris, Alan Felder, and Bunny Sigler, their list of hit records are endless. Those guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing stuff. And that's an iconic 12-inch that it's very difficult to find that today on vinyl.
Yes. Norman Harris and Alan Felder. What's the other name?
Bunny Sigler.
Bunny Sigler.
Okay.
The greatest writers in the world. Three of the greatest writers in the world.
Woo.
Three of the finest men you ever want to meet, man. And I was just hurt when we lost Norman Harris. And then not long after that, here Baker goes. I said, oh my God, the bass player. He wasn't a writer on the music.
Ronnie Baker, right? He wrote
Ronnie Baker,
The Happy People Go for the Tramps.
Exactly. But those times was just so wonderful playing with those guys live in the studio. That's you can't beat live recordings.
But when you came out with Touch and Go in '75, you already had your first album from around '73. Now they're ready to release Touch and Go. How does it happen that all the Philadelphia people, the writers and musicians, obviously knew who you were, but how does it happen that these guys wake up one day and go, you know what, we're going to write this song, and I think it's perfect for Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain, and it says on the 12-inch, featuring Barbara Roy. How did that evolve? Like, why wasn't it Rhonda? Why wasn't it Rochelle from First Choice? Why wasn't it someone else? How did it end up being your song?
Well, I would meet with them. I would leave New York and take a train or a plane to Philly and meet with the guys. And we would sit in this room and we would, brainstorm. We would go through some music that they wrote and that I wrote, and they would come up with stuff and ask me, how do you like this? What do you feel about that? I like that, whatever. We would brainstorm. And they didn't tell me. They would say something like, I think this song would be better for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this one. And we'd go and put me before Mike and we would try it. I would sing it along with the little track they had, Even Steele's brothers. Remember the Steele brothers?
Yes, Mervyn. Yes.
Mervyn and Marvin. I went to their house and we did the same thing there. They didn't come up with anything for me, but they had some good stuff that I introduced to Roulette Records, and they didn't want to be bothered with it for what reason I don't know. It was great stuff. But with the other three guys, Norman and the other two guys, they would just say, try this if you like it, and they said, well, you sound like to me, we can do something with this, and that's kind of like how it happened, Sometimes it would be, most of the time it would be right there in the Sigma Sound studio, at the piano, right there, happened right there.
On the first album, what was the first song, the first hit record on the album that you wrote? Which one would that be? Was it I Wouldn't Give You Up? Which one was it?
The first one, I wrote 7 songs out of the album.
Right.
There were 10. I wrote I Wouldn't Give You Up 15 years before it was recorded.
Wow.
15 years I was a kid before it was recorded. Okay.
What inspired you to write that song? What was the inspiration to write that song? Yeah, because you were so young. Why inspired? Because I know the lyrics. I wouldn't give you up. I mean, I know that the lyrics had. What possessed you to write that song?
It's been a while, but when something really genuine happens in your life, you don't forget it too well. Yeah, because if it makes a big impression on you, you don't forget it. But there was this young man whom I had met in school, and his name was Charles Vass, and we hit it off really good, Yeah. But he was older than me, and he went to college before I graduated.
Oh, check that out.
Okay.
All right.
He went off to college before I graduated from high school. So we separated. And I said, I don't want to give him up. Oh my goodness, he's a good guy. I like him. He knows how to treat a lady. Yeah. I wouldn't give him. And then I went after him, But it didn't work. By the time I got around to Charles, man, he met somebody else. So I said, I wrote.
Oh my God!
Forget it,
It
was like the cream in my coffee. Man. It was
something amazing came out of that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But did you write the music?
Everything.
Everything.
I wrote.
Okay. Music. What came first, the lyrics or the music?
Oh, the music. I think the music came first.
So you had this melody in
my mind.
You were doing it on the guitar.
Words to it based on that relationship.
Da 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 da.
Yes.
Da 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 da.
The intro came later. The intro came to me much later.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't think I didn't have an intro with anything at first, but the
one of the sweetest intros, right, Al? One of the sweetest intros. Yeah.
So you had the essence of the song in the late 50s.
Right.
In the actually early 60s.
Wow. So the early 60s. The Beatles come to America in 64. You're 9 years away from your first hit album. When you put yourself in 1964 and the Beatles come here, what kind of impression did the British invasion have on you, if any, musically?
Man, you know what? I was jealous.
What, you really?
I was somewhat jealous because I said, how can they come all the way over here from 3,000 miles away and make big hits like this, and I can't even get one to get off the ground hardly here in the
She
United
loves
States.
you, yeah. She loves you, yeah. I mean, really?
Yeah,
they were fabulous. I gotta tell you.
During that time, my niece Brenda and I were singing together in the early 60s. And their songs were our repertoire. Okay. We did She Loves You, yeah. That was one of them.
Wow.
I can name a lot of them. The Beatles recorded Barbara and Brenda, as we call ourselves, Barbara and Brenda. We did on the shows, and the people, we even wore what do you call it? Wigs, Beatle wigs.
Really?
As part of our show.
Yeah.
We put these Beatle wigs on our head, and we get up there and we shake our heads.
Yeah, really.
I'm playing the guitar, and Brenda's dancing, and we both singing. Man, it was a joy. I just couldn't believe it was happening so good like that. But we did the Beatles songs. We did a lot of crossover stuff. A lot of
Did Elvis Presley have any influence on you?
Yes, I loved Elvis Presley big time.
Yeah, he had gospel roots.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I loved his music. I loved his music.
Awesome.
I loved him that guitar. I don't think he played that well,
Right.
but he was a great actor. You know.
So who would be your one or two biggest musical influences when you were very young?
I tell you who really I loved a lot was Louis Armstrong. I loved Louis Armstrong's trumpet.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
he made that thing talk. In my book, you know,
Wow.
he made that trumpet talk. It was really, really an inspiration to me. And he was genuine in his way of projecting his music when he sang. And oh my God, when it came out with I see trees that are green.
Right.
Da, 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 da. What a wonderful world this is. Oh man, that was beautiful. That just
Great song.
big song, great song.
Sure.
I love, and Otis Redding was one of my favorites.
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
I worked with Otis Redding.
Oh.
What about female? What about female influence?
Female artist, Diana Ross. I love Diana Ross a lot. I like the Brenda Holloway back in that old day.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like her music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I like. I can't think of the names right now.
Right.
I mean, Aretha Franklin was tops. Okay.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
great. I loved her.
Okay. I was just innocently ask why was Aretha versus so many other wonderful. I mean, I know her voice was magnificent, but there were other artists also aside from Aretha, you know, there are, in my book, they're as good as her. But everybody kind of targets Aretha for some reason. Why?
My answer to that would be Aretha was a Christian woman. She had God all over her. Okay. She sang from her heart. Every song, whether it was an R&B song or whatever, it doesn't matter what the genre was. She put her soul into it, and her gospel soul into it, and that drew people. That drew people to her music because she was just that genuine. First of all, she didn't let anybody walk over her. People respected her.
Strong woman, yeah.
You know, and they loved the music. When you have all those attributes, and you're a great singer and you got all those hits, she was a millionaire. And the first, you know, after a while, she became a millionaire. When she died, she had millions. She was, people loved her. They just came to. God makes things happen in your life when you serve Him. Okay.
Yeah.
He rewards you right here on earth, and he has a platform for everybody. There's a platform for everybody. Aretha had her platform. Whitney had her platform. I have mine. You know, but if you work under the auspices of God Almighty, He will make things happen for you right now before you stop breathing. Before you stop.
Beautiful
breathing.
Words. Beautiful, beautiful words, Barbara. Beautiful words. You know, you have an audience out there who adore you, who respects everything you ever done, and you have the support of millions of people. And the industry is, you know, it's all crazy, but obviously you do have this incredible voice and personality and everything, the full package, really, that people admire. And how would you like to be remembered in you know, for the new generation and the people that are watching you, because they respect you and they want to know, they want to follow your footsteps. They want to be able to do that. They wanted to play the guitar. Young ladies out there who wanted to pick up an instrument and play and be able to, you're a role model, and then they wanted to follow you. They hear your voice. They play your records now. Vinyl is really actually making a comeback, and so they are actually the young people are listening to you. what advice do you have on how would you like them to remember you, Barbara?
Well, the first thing I would tell them is to get God in your life. Give your life to God
First
and
thing.
allow Him. First thing,
Mhm.
allow Him to lead you. You know, allow the Holy Spirit to lead and guide you. A lot of people say, "Why would she talk about that?" I mean, nobody wants to hear anything about the Lord or about God. But hey, if it wasn't for Him, you wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I tell them to do is get God in their lives. If you want to follow your dreams, don't give up. Follow your dreams. Allow the Lord to lead and guide you. My what was the other thing you asked me?
Well, how
Or
you
what
are
would I
such an
want them to
influence on
want me?
people that
I
the
want to be
new
remembered.
generation, they wanted to follow your footsteps, and they're learning.
Yeah.
You know, if I wish to this day that my mother would have, because I grew up with she, I love the drums. I love the, you know, all kinds of stuff. Give your child an instrument. You may find out that that kid may have a great talent. You know, don't give him
Absolutely.
something stupid. Give him an instrument. Find out if he likes the
That's right.
drums,
Give
the
him something he
guitar,
can
the
use.
trumpet, the, you know, whatever. But find out, because we all have music in our spirits, and music speaks to the soul, just like you do. When I
Mhm.
listen to you, I get goosebumps, for crying out loud. And I, you know, and that's what
Mhm.
they are getting out there. And we need to motivate
Yes.
people right now. We need to motivate them, motivate the new generation that I think they're lacking of education. And that's why one of the things that we do in this organization, I'm sorry if I sidetrack myself, but when I do a show, I do have go to a charity for kids in order to for them to, we help them, kids. This is our future,
Yes.
and so they need
Yes.
influence like you to motivate them. You know, and
I
they
think
want
you
to.
asked me how I would like to be remembered.
Yeah.
Um, there are many things I could say, uh, but the number one thing I think is I would like people to know that to remember that Barbara inspired them to come to Jesus,
Hmm.
and because that when you do that, that's a soul that's been saved. That's a soul that won't burn forever in the everlasting hellfire. You know,
Yeah.
that's the when when you decide to follow Jesus, you begin to learn how to do the right things, not just know them,
Hmm.
but how to do the thing that's right to do.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'd like to be remembered as uh, the artist who inspired one to come to Jesus.
Okay. Fair
Now,
enough. That's a
when we
wonderful
talk
thing.
about
I
your,
mean, obviously, you have so much future ahead of you, and we've talked about this, you know, and we can wait for this year to end in order for us to continue our tradition to bring, you know, entertainment to the masses. I have quite a few projects, you know, looking forward to them in 2021. And, you know, we have friends in Europe. We have friends. So obviously, your niece Jocelyn is up in London. How is she doing, by the way, Jocelyn
Yes,
Brown? How is she doing? Okay.
she's doing fine. She just had a birthday on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, no
It was her
kidding! I didn't know
birthday.
that. Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay. We need to send her a
that's
she's
big
doing.
actually
shout out to
that's actually
Jocelyn.
how I found her, Lewis,
Is that right?
through Jocelyn through Facebook somehow.
Yeah. And
Yes,
I
because
yeah.
uh, I don't remember exactly, but when the phone call came, I was sitting in my office and I answered the phone as I always do, Al Magliano, and I heard Barbara Roy on the other side of the phone. That's my first time I ever spoke with you. Jocelyn got us together. I don't know
Yeah,
Jocelyn, but
right.
somehow I don't know the specifics any longer. But when I picked
Mm-hmm.
up the phone, it was like in the afternoon, and I said Al Magliano, and I heard you say Barbara Roy. I thought I was dreaming. I couldn't believe it.
Somehow you guys got got together on Facebook. I think it was through Facebook.
And
I
I
believe.
think I mentioned to her that I was looking for you to
Right.
like we can find you. And this is even before I knew anything about Legends of Vinyl. And then of course when
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah,
happened,
this is way
and we were able
back.
Right.
Yeah.
to recognize you. But Lewis
Yeah.
brings up, you know, his parents and hoping they would put an instrument in front of their children. My son is a
Uh-huh.
concert trained pianist, and he's
Yes,
Yeah.
he
he's a great
is. Yes.
piano player.
Yeah.
But I always ask artists this
Alfie?
question, and I always get the same, usually get the same response. I say, you know, you were young, you're a teenager, and you tell your parents you want to be a singer, and you want to be a rock star, and you want to go perform all over the place. And then most of them tell their children, "Are you crazy?" And then I say, "But what happened when you had your first hit record?" Then they go, "Oh, now we like it." So what was it for like when you basically said to your family, you know, I'm going to be a performer. I'm going to, you know, go to New York. I'm going to be a performer. I want to be a
man,
pop star.
I went through. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what I went through. I was 18 years old. I was going on almost 19. I just finished high school, and my mom and I were the last two to leave North Carolina and come north to Washington, D.C. Okay, and all my brothers lived in D.C. and in Virginia, and I told my mom. Actually, I had two sisters who had already moved to New York. They were recording gospel music. They were recording gospel music there. Okay. And my sister Willie, her name was Willie, she called me and told me that she had, she thought she had a pretty good recording contract that I would, for me and Brenda, because Brenda and I were singing together during those years, you know. And I said, really? She said, yes. Can you come here? I said, I have to ask Mama, you know. I said, I asked my mom. I told her what was going on. She says, no, you can't go to New York. No, you can't go to New York. You stay here.
Yeah.
I said, but why, Mom? I said, this is an opportunity for me, you know. And she says, I just kept hacking her about it. She said, well, let me call the boys. She always relied on her boys, okay, her sons.
Right.
And so they came to the house with their wives and everybody. It was a round table discussion,
Wow.
okay, about my future, my life. And then my youngest brother, Paul, he was a preacher at the time. So he was there with his wife as well, a young married couple. Everybody was there making a decision for me, you know.
Yeah.
So I sat there, I listened to them, you know, give their opinions and everything, responses and all. Well, what are you going to do after you get there? Who are you going to live with? I said, I'm going to live with Willie and my sister Ann. I said, you know, well, how do you know it's going to work? I said, Mom, I don't know whether the contract is going to work. And I have to go and see about it, you know?
Yeah.
And my brothers said, I don't think you need to let her go, Mama. She don't know nothing about New York and nothing. She'll just go up there and do nothing, just like Willie and Ann. Come on. You know, so they made the decision that I should not go. Okay.
Wow.
And then when they were all single filing out of the room, getting ready to go back downstairs and stuff, my brother Paul, the preacher, he was the last in line. And he and I were the last two in line. And as the last one of them went out, Paul closed the door, says, look, let me tell you something. I want you to know this. This is your life, not their lives. You have to make the decision for yourself. You cannot allow people to dictate your future, Barbara. He says, what if you didn't go to New York? He said, you'll always wonder, how would it have been? What would have happened had I gone? You might have been able to make enough money to buy everybody in the family a house, you know?
Right.
But you have to make that decision. He says, if it doesn't work out, do something else. But at least you would know, you know? And I hugged him and I kissed him and I just told him, thank you. And my mind at that moment was made up to go. Whether I had to disobey my mother or not, I had to go.
Okay, so that you have done that, and then when you had your first hit record, and they see you on television on Soul Train, American Bandstand, nothing was bigger than those two shows.
Right.
So what was their attitude, the family and your parents' attitude at that point? And said, wait a minute, she's actually making it.
They all flipped. They couldn't believe it. They were shocked. They were happy for me. When we did our first show at the Madison Square Garden, they were all there. When we did our first show at the Apollo Theater, they were all there. They supported. me, you know,
Wonderful.
and congratulated me, and that was it. I mean, I didn't hold anything against them. They
Sure.
said what they felt in their hearts because of the love they had for me, you know, which is
Yeah.
cool. But you have to, you know, realize a person has to make his own decisions. A grown person has to make his own decisions.
True that. True
But
that.
they flipped out when they just saw, oh, Barbara, you got this record. This record is great, girl. You know.
How long did that take by the time you actually left and had your first contract?
Okay, I left 62 in 63, I believe it was.
Wow.
Uh, I left I left DC in 1963, I think it was. And my
Wow.
niece Brenda, see, I wrote this stuff down. Brenda and I did some recording before I got with Ecstasy back in the
Mhm.
60s, mid 60s. And and then around 69, 68, 69, yes, around 68, 69, I started to, I met with the group Joe Williams, Ron Smith at that time was our keyboard player, and to audition for. They wanted me to audition because they were forming a group, these
Right.
guys, and they wanted me to audition for the group. So it had to have been around what, 5 years
Mm.
before Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain recorded,
Wow.
something
That's a
like
long
that.
time. I
Wow.
mean, really. That's quite a long time.
Yeah, it
Really.
was a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah. Sure.
But you see, I didn't go there to be with Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain. I went to New York to be with my niece Brenda
Yeah.
and record with her. Those years, and during those years, I worked with my niece Brenda. I played for Inez and Charlie Fox. I played guitar for
Hmm.
Wilson Pickett. During those times, during
Mm.
those years, before meeting Ecstasy, Passion, and Pain, or
Right.
getting with it, Ecstasy, Passion, and
Wicked
Pain.
Pickett. I love it. I love that guy. Wilson Pickett.
Who did you perform
Jesus.
with at the Apollo?
The Apollo was Barbara and Brenda. We it was Aaron Neville.
Wow.
When he had
Nice.
our Tell It Like
Nice.
It Is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell it
Okay,
like it is.
yeah,
Yeah. Tell.
we
Yeah.
did. I
Great
remember
song.
him. I don't remember the other artists.
Yeah.
There was a comedian too. What's his name? Peg Leg Bates.
All
Wow.
right.
Okay,
That's unbelievable.
I
Brett,
don't remember
you
the
know,
other artists.
so many things as, Barbara, an hour goes so fast, and it's such an
Oh,
incredible moment for me
oh,
to
sorry.
tell you how much I appreciate you have made this jockey so happy from the early days. I'm one of the original DJs from back in the day who actually put a needle on the record of one of your songs, and I appreciate it, and I thank you, and I love you for that. All of this, everything you have done
Thank
for
you.
us, for this crazy industry of ours. But I'm just looking forward to do more, and to continue success, to continue to get better. And I'm looking forward to get together with you, Al, and we all together planning something new for all of us. In the meantime, Barbara, wish you
Hmm.
nothing but the best. Love you a lot. Stay safe. And I want to thank you
Thank,
and thank everybody. This is the Legacy Hour. This is the last show of 2020. I'll be back 2021 in January with a lineup of people like you won't believe. But this is my last show of the Legacy, and I'm so happy that Barbara is with me, and my friend,
thank
my dear
you.
friend Al Magliano,
Thank you for
sharing
having me.
this hour. And all of you out there, guys, remember, L.O.V is the message.